Good Monday evening, everyone. I wanted to get on here and do a video. It does look like our second season for severe weather here, typically in the Southern Plains, kind of September to October. Does look like that's going to start off in earnest here this week. So do want to take a look at not only what we're seeing right now with the weather, but also look to, especially tomorrow, so Tuesday afternoon and evening, as well as maybe even a couple other days here later this week. So right now, this is our visible satellite that we're looking at. We can see that there are a good amount of storms here across the Intermountain West, across Colorado and New Mexico, down into the Texas Panhandle as well. There is a marginal risk of severe weather right here for these storms, kind of right here in the Panhandle. Could see a couple of severe storms right there. I think what's worth noticing here is that we do have kind of this overlapping flow kind of right here, and then it's hard to see, but there is a area of high pressure down here. And so we've kind of got some flow that's coming over the top of that high pressure, and that's going to be the triggering event for some severe weather, likely across Oklahoma and North Texas tomorrow afternoon and evening. So I do want to talk a little bit more about that, what the models are showing us. But again, always interesting to look at the visible satellite here and kind of see what we can see based on the clouds and kind of where things are moving. So when we do move ahead here and we look at the overall kind of pattern that we're in right now, this is our 500 millibar wind map. So this is really kind of the jet stream level. And the jet stream is actually way up here to the north and then kind of across the northeast right here. So that's our jet stream right now, well off to the north. And again, here it's a little bit easier to see. Here is our high pressure system across northern Mexico. You can kind of see these wind barbs kind of rotating here. Really, again, mainly clockwise here. That's how high pressure rotates, is clockwise. And then we do have these brighter colors, these green, yellowish colors. This is enhanced flow in that 500 millibar kind of jet stream. We would call this the subtropical jet stream. And we do typically see this more so in the winter months and in El Nino winter, like we're going to be entering. And so this enhanced flow is going to be enough to trigger some severe storms tomorrow afternoon and evening. And so as we move forward and we look at tomorrow afternoon, this would be about 4 p.m. We can see we've got some of these lighter green colors here across the Texas Panhandle and then going into Oklahoma. If we move forward one more little movement forward here, we can actually see almost a little bit of lighter green and yellow. That's our enhanced flow. Again, this is showing about 40 to 45 knots of flow, more than enough for severe thunderstorms. And again, kind of moving over this high pressure system and then arcing down across Texas and Oklahoma. And this is going to be our trigger for those severe storms tomorrow. Now, tomorrow does not look to be a tornado outbreak or even a very high likelihood of even seeing one or two tornadoes, but it does look like large hail is going to be the main threat for tomorrow afternoon and evening across North Texas, and then a good chunk of Oklahoma as well. So I do want to take a look at the models, show exactly what we're looking at. So this would be, let's look at our moisture. So again, we've got that triggering event, that additional flow kind of moving in that subtropical jet. When we look at our dew point temperatures, let's go to about this would be about 4 p.m. Central Time tomorrow afternoon. What we can see is our dry line kind of setting up here across southwest Kansas, the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles like this. And we have dew point temperatures over here in the mid to low 60s, 64 to kind of 62 degree dew points here. On the dry side of the boundary, kind of mid 50s, even off into the 40s here. Not a very tight dry line. That's something kind of worth watching, but certainly a dry line that could be enough to trigger storms with that upper level flow that, again, we've looked at is going to be kind of moving this way out of the west. That should interact with this dry line, kind of this intersection point, and be enough forcing to get those severe thunderstorms to fire. And again, certainly more than enough moisture here with these low to mid 60s dew points. When we look at the simulated radar here moving forward, what we're going to see is, again, this is 4 o'clock Central Time. It does look like we might have a cluster of storms, maybe one or two more intense storms here across near the Oklahoma City metro area, somewhere possible between Oklahoma City and Lawton. And then a couple more storms forming along the dry line out here across the eastern Texas panhandle. As we move forward in time here, a couple hours, this would be by about 6 p.m., Again, we've got multiple different isolated, likely supercell thunderstorms here across the dry line from southwest Oklahoma down to probably the Big Spring, Texas area, maybe even a little bit further south. And then we do have that cluster here across kind of south central Oklahoma. All of these will be generally moving off to the east southeast with time, and we may even see a couple different rounds of storms through the evening hours. So if we move forward in time here, we can see these initial storms kind of move off to the south southeast. Then we even get some more storms that fire back here, this cluster across northern Oklahoma that starts to move south. And then this actually stays together through the overnight hours and gets pretty close to the Dallas Fort Worth area, which is right here. So we'll have to see. Certainly Oklahoma, there's going to be a lot of Oklahoma that's going to have some severe weather and certainly some pretty strong storms tomorrow evening. But it even looks like Dallas Fort Worth might even get in the action possibly early in the morning hours on Wednesday. We'll have to see if those storms fall apart just to the north or not. But certainly could see some severe weather making it into portions of North Texas and maybe even the Dallas Fort Worth area. But again, it does look like maybe two different complexes of storms. Again, we look at probably this area here across kind of central Oklahoma, and then another area here along the dry line of kind of West Texas. It does look like probably Dallas Fort Worth, especially in the daytime of Tuesday, is going to miss out. Again, we'll have to watch late on Tuesday, more likely early Wednesday, if those storms will stay together. But again, does look very likely that we'll see more of a hail event. I'm going to take just an example sounding here, give us an idea of what the atmosphere and the environment is going to look like here before we kind of wrap up this video. Again, not much of a tornado threat given that we're not going to have very low cloud bases, and the low-level wind shear is going to be relatively marginal, and that's what we can see here with this sounding. So again, one thing that you always look at, we call this an inverted V sounding, where you see this green line and red line kind of forming this upside-down V in our sounding. That does tend to mean that there could be more of a risk for damaging winds, since we do have this only a 60-degree dew point, but a 93-degree actual temperature. Sometimes when you get that inverted V, that can be a damaging wind profile, so we will have to watch that. And then the reason that we're looking at likely not a tornado threat, but more of a large hail threat, is again, the low levels here, this purple and then red, very little turning here. This purple line is pretty short, so not showing a lot of low-level wind shear, but we do have this very straight, long hodograph, which is typically very conducive of very large hail, and we do have a severe hail reading that's showing up in our analogs. So again, that's likely going to be the main threat, is possibly supercells that tend to split, and the more dominant ones will have some significant 2+ inch, probably baseball, tennis ball size hail. I think we'll see some reports of that here tomorrow. So again, overall does look like a mixed mode of a couple different clusters across maybe central Oklahoma and then along the dry line. But again, looks like our second season of severe weather, that fall severe season, which possibly could be active here this year, looks like it's going to kick off in earnest this week. First here on Tuesday, and then possibly on Wednesday, and maybe over Friday and Saturday as well. So definitely keep your guard up if you're in the Southern Plains, and I appreciate you watching this video, and I'll see you back here for the next one.